Dr. NGR Educational and Research Institute, University, Madurai, Chennai. Dr. NGR Educational and Research Institute, University, Madurai, Chennai.
Gender equality is more than a goal in itself. It is a precondition for meeting the challenge of reducing poverty, promoting sustainable development, and building good governance. With that being said, a very good afternoon to one and all present here. Hope everyone is sound and healthy. Well, I am Niveda Rajat, Assistant Professor from the Department of Human Resource Management, shall be your host for the day. It's my privilege to extend a warm welcome to our guest of honor and speaker for the day, Ms. K.Raghavi Senthilkumar, Founder Director, the HEADWAY Academy. I extend a cheerful greetings to the eminent organizers of this webinar, Dr. Jem, Head of the Department of Human Resource Management, Ms. Vasanthi, Assistant Professor, Ms. Ramya, Assistant Professor, Ms. Akshaya, Assistant Professor, our Technical Support, and Mr. Ganesh Babu, our System Admin to our virtual studio. Before we commence, the feedback cum assessment form will be available in the YouTube description box at the end of the session. You are requested to complete and submit the form before 6 p.m. today. Later, the form will be deactivated. The e-certificate for participation will be sent to your registered email ID within 3 working days. May I now request Dr. Jem, Head of the Department, to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, Madam.
Thank you, Niveda. Good afternoon to one and all. It's my pleasure to welcome you all for this national webinar on gender diversity and inclusion on behalf of the Department of Human Resource Management, Dr. NGR Educational and Research Institute, University. Heartfelt thanks to our Founder Chancellor, Dr. A.C. Shanmugam Sir, and to our Honorable President, Engineer A.C.S. Arun Kumar Sir, for their never-ending support and motivation in all the ways. Hearty welcome and thanks to our eminent, young and versatile speaker, Ms. K.Raghavi Senthilkumar, for accepting our invitation within a short span of time and for her presence here. Welcome, ma'am. A cheerful welcome to all the participants from all over the world. Hearty welcome to all the dignitaries, heads, faculties, students, and all others of our university. A very happy welcome and thanks to our technical support people, Mr. Ganesh Babu and Ms. Akshaya, for helping us in conducting various events. Gender diversity and inclusion plays a vital role everywhere, whether it's a workplace or in a society, anywhere. Generations, education, and technology, and many more has changed the old tradition and has paved way for gender equality. This change in diversity has given confidence, courage, and a lot more in achieving many more. Today, we have with us Ms. K.Raghavi Senthilkumar to speak about gender diversity and inclusion. Hope this session will enrich all of us. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. I now request Ms. Ramya, Assistant Professor from the Department of Human Resource Management, to introduce our eminent chief guest. Over to you, Ms. Ramya.
Thank you, Ms. Niveta. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. It's my pleasure to introduce our eminent speaker, Ms. K.Raghavi Senthilkumar, Director, the HEADWAY Academy, Founder, the HEADWAY Foundation. Ms. Raghavi is qualified master in MBA, Diploma in Training and Development, and PhD. She is also a well-established HR consultant, trainer, educationist, faculty trainer, mentor, motivational speaker, POSH IC member, trainer, POCSO trainer. Through the HEADWAY Academy, she develops and reinforces sustainable and intense development opportunities to varied groups of colleges, forums, corporate initiatives, trainings, and conferences. Through the HEADWAY Foundation, she aims at providing a podium for the marriage sector, differently abled people, women, children to develop the confidence in leading independent, sustainable, social, and professional lives through research, awareness, campaigns, education, etc. She is also appeared in Joe's Talks, ICT Academy Dialogue, Radio Michi, Big FM, Podige TV, Makkal TV, Kalla TV, Kungumam Vigidan, The Hindu, New Indian Express, Tokyo and Tamil Sangamam. A scholarly accolades are Best Research Paper Award from Sri Sai Ram Institute of Management Studies. A job accolades are Chairman Award, Spirit of E. Rowde Award, Women Achiever Award, and Star Award. She has also received many accolades in entrepreneur field. On the behalf of Dr. MJ University and Department of Human Resource Management, we wish you all success in your future endeavors, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ramya. Now the most awaited time has arrived. Without any further delay, I welcome our guest of honor and speaker for the day, Ms. Raghavi Senthilkumar, to proceed with her presentation. Madam, we request you to take over the session and enrich us with knowledge.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, and it's a real privilege to talk, to address this beautiful virtual gathering. Yes, I'm not able to see the faces, but yet I could feel a sense of responsibility through this topic, and so I really thank Dr. MGR University for having me here on this beautiful afternoon. And I also thank Dr. Jayam for personally inviting me for this webinar session. So it's an afternoon post lunch, and the topic seems to be kind of a little vague: gender diversity and inclusion. And I really know how hard it is for the audience to really imagine what is really happening here, because the major fact is that the speaker is not in front of you physically. So I will try my best to put you all kind of not on a roller coaster ride, not on the front seat of your couch, but I will try to bring on some insights for you, because I'll have to do justice for what I'm invited for here. So on that note, yeah, gender diversity and inclusion is the topic, and I'm sure diversity has been a really hot topic here and there, when it comes to sessions like this. And diversity has been in all talks of life. I think we all agree to it. But when it was given to me, I thought I'll add another word to it called the inclusion. So I had framed it that I'm going to talk to you about gender diversity and inclusion. So what is the difference? Why do we have to, differentiate between diversity and inclusion, D and I? What is it? So if you'll have to, really go on a deep dive, and understand diversity and inclusion are on the two sides of the coin. So what is it? So diversity is about bringing on the diverse factors into whatever forum or arena that you want to play in. So inclusion is about, after you include them, after you bring about them, what is really what is really that you're giving to them, and what belongingness that they feel when they are part of your setup, your arena, your forum, whatever you call about. So if I'll have to give an example on this, diversity is about inviting people to a party, whereas inclusion is about making them dance in the party, making them perform in the party. So that is the difference between your diversity and inclusion. So when it comes to gender diversity, of course there are a lot of classes and factors that when we talk about diversity. So the topic being gender diversity, I wouldn't say it is male or female. Gender is gender. So you have the third gender, and on an holistic note, it is about gender. So I'm not going to point you about male, female, LGBTQ, or I'm not going to get on a deep dive on all these gender aspects. But on a holistic basis, what is important for all of us as responsible citizens, emphasize this diversity and inclusion in the society. So, if I'll have to, really pull this virtual audience to me, I am going to categorize my, topic into four phases. One being the diversity and inclusion at home. So we all say charity starts at home, right? So home, we all say home is the first school, for the children, and school is the second home for the children. We all say that. So I thought when I'll have to, categorize or sectorize the phases of life of a particular gender, when we talk about a woman or any particular, because in our society male has been on the on the upper brand, and woman has been in the lower brand, and I don't really agree to it, because of late we've been growing up seeing many women as god. Yeah, the goddesses has been ruling, and women has been really prayed as goddess, and they've been treated that way. Of late, it has been changed, and this domestic violation, abuse, rapes, and all these social issues of today have really, brought about a typical negative, flavor to the entire community. But still, if we will have to, talk about the gender aspect, yes, women, men, all gender are equal, no doubt about it. But why are we still talking about this gender diversity and inclusion? Because examples are not exceptions. So still, there are a lot of things that's been prevailing here and there in the society. If you go back to the rural areas and all that, still you have this female feticide, you have this child abuse, you have rapes happening even in the urban areas, and you on the television you could definitely have a news on the rape cases. So we are still in this stature, and we're still talking about gender diversity and inclusion. So that's the whole crux of it. So we'll have to talk about it, and end of the day, it is not mere talking. We'll have to put it into action. So that is what is very important. So on that note, I would say it all starts from where we are. It starts from mine. Inclusion starts from mine. So when I, is about inclusion, in fact, I, as an individual, am responsible to emphasize on the factor called the gender diversity and inclusion. So when it is, gender diversity and inclusion, gender sensitization, when you all talk this, one thing that comes to our mind is the gender discrimination. That has been the foundation for what we are talking now, right? So gender discrimination. We of late have grown up, seeing like a male or a boyish kind of an attitude and a girlish kind of an attitude. We say that masculinity and femininity. Boys are for blue and pink is for girls. We've been seeing this even today morning. When I was arranging my wardrobe, it happened very casually. When I was like folding my pink color chudidar, my son suddenly popped out, oh, pink, I don't like, it's a girl color. I was like, what? So this I have never inculcated as a mother to my son. Yeah, but what is it inculcating the boys or the kids is something really weird. So, and very luckily today I'm addressing about the gender diversity and inclusion today. So I thought gender equality starts at home. And gender equality, when I say it begins at home, it begins from the families. We are the front lines for change. Yeah, for the next generation, the example set at home by the parents, by the caregivers, the extended family members are shaping the way they think about gender and equality, from breaking down gender work, the gender stereotypes, to sharing the care work, educating children about the women's rights and gender equality. we as elders need to do something. So let me talk about that and then go on to the next phase of the gender, whether it is man or woman or any other gender. So the first thing is talk about it. Yeah, embrace talking to your kids about gender equality and women's rights. By talking to your children about equality between the genders and what still needs to be done for us to reach a gender equal world, you're setting them up to lead the way for a better future for all. Yeah. So in my opinion, if you say the best way to raise a child is by example, as your child takes after you. So you, I mean, as an individual, often talk about gender roles because the topic is relevant. Yeah. So next would be share the care work. I would say from cooking to cleaning to fetching water to firewood or taking care of children and the elderly people at home, women carry out at least 2.5 times more unpaid household and care work than men. I think you all would agree that. As a result, there are exceptions. I also do understand, but thousands of women and girls miss out on equal opportunities of going to school or joining full time paid work or having enough time to rest. So let's set the example by equally dividing all household and childcare in your home, involve boys in the care work and the household chores from an early age along with girls. So I do this. But you can really say, ma'am, come on, it is easy to talk, in a webinar like this, it is easy for you to talk and go. But is it really possible, or it is is it really kind of feasible for pulling the men, the boys inside household chores? It wasn't there because of late it was only the father who's been reading the newspaper, and it is only the mother who brings the coffee coffee tumbler, you say, right? So that has been the scenario, but of late it is really changing. I could see the difference, but yes, it has a long way to go. So that is the reason I said it starts from us. It starts from home. So next would be about embracing diverse role models. So if I talk about role models come in all shapes, sizes, genders, skin tones, and cultural backgrounds. Let's encourage children to embrace diversity, show them role models from different genders, ethnicities, and color, and remind them that they can be anything they want to be, regardless of their gender. For a boy child, we can definitely say, when the boy is really passionate about space and all that, you can really talk about Kalpana Chawla to a boy child. Nothing wrong, huh? So same way, it is not about gender. It is all about who your role model is and what area you're quoting actually for as an example. So that's important. Empower your kids to speak out. Young people around the world are stepping up for gender equality. When we empower and educate young advocates about women's rights, we are actually ensuring a better future for all of us. Yeah. So the next would be fighting the stereotypes, including your own stereotypes, or including your own kind of a powerful dimension to what it is all about. Because gender is not about biological differences between the genders. Yeah, let us understand that first, because gender is a social construct. People define what it means to be a boy or a girl, and the social conditioning that we give, yeah, often expect children to conform to specific and limiting gender roles and expectations from a young age. Yeah, studies say children start absorbing these stereotypes maybe at the age of 3, causing the world to expand for boys and shrink for the girls by the age of 10. Yeah, I didn't say this. Studies say that. So that's why we have to start conversations about gender roles early on and challenge the features and characteristics assigned to men and women to home, in our daily routines, in school, in places of work. So we all have these unconscious gender biases. So these are the roles that we have to internalize based on our society's set expectations about how men and women should dress, behave, present themselves, in some cases what kind of work they should do. So it's in our hands to kind of become aware of these biases and challenge these stereotypes that our children constantly encounter through the media, you know, through the way they see people in the streets, amongst our extended family members, in the school, wherever, in the colleges. By the way, if I say kids, it is also the college going kids. So let children know that the family is a safe space for them to express themselves as they are, by reassuring them that it's okay to be different, and by encouraging a culture of acceptance. So the next would be about body shaming. Our world is constructed in a way that makes us compare ourselves to the beauty standards. Who set these beauty standards? It could be media, it could be the culture, it could be the society. So we constantly measure ourselves against other people and feel judged by our physical appearance. Yeah, body shaming is a learned behavior. So it's important for parents to lead by example. If you see recently, if I'll have to quote this example from the movie Bigil, when the one of the players is being addressed as Gundamma. Yeah, it was really in talks. It was it has been addressed by a lot of people that body shaming is happening, and it has to be cut down and all that. So let us be careful not to be critical of body image, including your own, and reject negative stereotypes of what do you say, unrealistic body standards and all that. So let's foster a body positive lifestyle at home by showing our children that they are not defined by how they look, but how they act. So that is very important. And the next would be about listen and learn from them. Today's youth, so I'm not restricting it to the school going children, but also the college kids. 1.8 billion strong youth represent boundless possibilities and enormous talent to build a better future to the world. Yeah. But to truly, harness that power, we need to listen to them. Are we doing it? I really doubt. Girls and boys have a role to play in achieving gender equality today. Over the last few years, if you see, young people have been speaking about the issues affecting them and the world. From if I have to quote Malala as an example, advocating for youth education, to Greta urging us to take climatic action. Young people have a lot of contribution to conversations on human rights, climate action, gender equality, and more. So we just need to listen to them. Yeah. So this is about gender diversity, or the gender equality, the inclusion that you can bring about at home, through these possible actions. So the next point would be, as I told you, as I committed to you, I said I will talk about 4 categories. So the second category would be about the, if you really are watching seriously about this, the next phase of next what do you say, the next arena where a child, whether it is a boy child or a girl child, learns, is the educational institutional area. So educational institutions, it could be the classroom. We call the classroom as the learning area, right? So gender diversity in the classroom, be it the school classroom or the college classroom. So according to a report, a study, it says women began outnumbering men, especially at the colleges. I think we all have been experiencing this, because Off late when you see open the newspapers, it's about many girl students, girl children, topping the ranks, and entering into the unique areas of education and all that. We've been watching, and this evolution has been evident. Yeah. Yet, the yes, women earn the majority of both bachelor's and master's degree today, and have since the end of the last century, it's still been there. Despite this, there are still obstacles to female students that carry through the classroom, and that can manifest themselves later in the workplace. So, when a study was conducted from the Center for Teaching Excellence. It has been identified ranging from kindergarten. I'm not restricting to school or colleges. I'm talking on a holistic point of view, from the children point of view. Ranging from kindergarten to the graduate school, how teachers relate to male and female students. So the study has come out with few points like teachers are more likely to call on the male students. Teachers, give male students longer to formulate an answer. The study may be wrong, yeah, but I say again, say examples are not exceptions. Teachers provide more eye contact to male students. Teacher remember the names of male students better. Teachers call on male students more often for questions that require higher order critical thinking, kind of questions. How can we change the way gender diversity in the classroom today that impacts the children of tomorrow? Classroom teachers, it need not be just educational institutions. It can also be the teachers or the mentors or the trainers, whoever is teaching or inculcating any kind of learning to the children, can find creative ways to help make everyone feel included. For example, breaking down of these traditional stereotypic barriers, skipping the lining up of boys and girls. Instead of that boys and girls, line up the kids by odd and even birthdays, or something that is equally creative. Find new and creative ways to talk to kids and turn challenges into something kind of positive. Always seek out new learning opportunities. The challenges of gender diversity in the classroom can lead to challenges that we see in the workplace. So now you know where I'm addressing to. Yeah. So after finishing off this, home, the classroom, I'm not talking about the education sector, on a holistic, place where people literally learn. People learn through classrooms. So home and classrooms are the two major areas where gender diversity and inclusion should happen. So now, when I talk about the third phase, yeah, the workplace, gender diversity and inclusion at the workplace. I'm not going to talk to you about all the people who've been, raising up their glass ceiling, breaking their glass ceiling, and have been, really coming out with lot of colorful, colorful, what do you say? These uh, different career phases of life. But of course, when you start as a fresher and then you take up the leadership position, there are a lot of things that you'll have to break, as in point of glass ceiling, as in point of stereotypes. There are a lot of things that women do, but I'm not going to talk about all this. I'm not going to quote example of all these people who've been, leading these, organizations as a woman and all that. But I'm going to talk about why and how of this gender diversity, because as I told you in the beginning, it is all about action. I can today talk and go, but who is going to put it in action is what is important. Sometimes, okay, madam, I know all this. I don't know how to go about it. So that is what is very important when it comes to gender diversity. Could greater gender diversity in the workplace be the secret weapon in your organization's quest to dominate your market? When I say employer or the organization, it can be any organization. It need not be the companies, the MNCs, or the manufacturing setups. Nothing doing. It can be an employer, no matter which market you are into. So my question is: could greater gender equality be the untapped power play upon which you build your companies or your organization's success? So when I talk about gender diversity, it does. I mean, in the workplace, it doesn't mean your organization needs a 50-50 mix of male and female in every job in the organization. Yeah, it does mean, however, that all roles at every level in the company or at every level in the organization where you belong to should have a fair representation of both the genders, of all the genders. I wouldn't say both the genders, of all the genders. So it also means that every hiring manager should strive to hire the best person available for the open position without assumptions or without prejudices about it being a man's job or a woman's job. That is how we traditionally speak, right? So, why do you need gender diversity in the workplace? So, I would say the first point that I would say is it improves the financial performance. Making your workforce more balanced between genders isn't just a nice to have, rather than it's a real driver of superior performance that all business leaders desire. Research suggests that greater gender balance among corporate leaders really correlates to higher stock values and greater profitability. That mixed gender outperform all male boards, male dominant boards, and that hedge the funds headed by women outperform the hedge funds headed by men. So I didn't say this again, the research says this. So that is one important point. The thinking is that gender biased firms, organizations, or employers, I would say, do not fully utilize all the talent available to them. So they lose out to rivals, to the competitors that provide opportunities equally to men and women. So that is point number one. So point number two is about it broadens your customer base. Yeah, women make up approximately about 51 percentage of the population, say for example. Yeah, by recruiting, retaining, promoting more women at all levels of the organization, you help your workforce better understand the concerns, the stressors, motivators of the total population of your company, which serves your organization, that serves the particular community. So without diverse talent, it makes it harder for your company to keep up with the increasingly diverse customer base that exists today. So that is your important point. And the third point I would say is it improvises problem solving. Yeah, it's now generally accepted that diverse teams are more creative and better at problem solving. So that's simply because different types of people bring different perspectives and life experiences to the table. So like-minded people often have very similar ideas. So if you have a very wider team, you'll have to take a look at whether the team is multi talented and all gender team, so that you improvise the results by mixing things up gender wise also. So next point would be, it helps us with recruiting and retention company wide or the organization wide. When I talk about workspace, to be most effective, gender parity shouldn't be limited to senior level positions. I would always say this. Yeah, gender parity shouldn't be limited to senior level positions. In order to build a bench of talented, diverse team members, your organization needs to cultivate, gender diversity across the board, across the senior level cadre employees, middle positions, lower level positions, and all that. So it helps the company because when potential recruits interview with you, they see people who look like them in the positions where they'll be working. This can help your company come across as more welcoming to job candidates because it quietly signals that everyone's work is valued and rewarded. So, with a tight labor market outside, your organization needs every advantage it can get in and a commitment to workplace diversity, which can help you find and keep the best candidates. Yeah. So, these 4 points that I said is one thing. And the next point is it is the law. Yeah. As per your Civic Rights Act, uh, we need to kind of prohibit employers from discriminating against the basis of sex or race or color or national origin and religion. So if your organization is not making gender diversity a priority, you could be missing an opportunity to hire great employees and exposing your business to negative publicity. So it's the law and it is to be imparted. So, okay, these are the whys of what I said about gender diversity at the workplace. So, how can we go about it, ma'am? As our organization embarks, on the path toward hiring for diversity, diverse talents, diverse skill sets, it's vital you make some systemic changes that help your business attract a wide range of applicants. And how do you go about it? First, talk about the value of diversity. You can't just announce one day that you need to hire more female employees, or rather, let me talk this way: hire more female engineers, or hire more male nurses, and expect success. You must talk to your managers, hiring managers, about why your business needs more diversity in the workforce. So communicate the benefits to the bottom line and your corporate culture. It can take time. It can take some time to shake up long-held preconceived notions about gender. Still, plan to discuss the topic frequently. So that is one important thing on the how part. So the next would be the second point would be about casting a wider net. Sometimes diversifying your talent pool can be as simple as changing your traditional recruiting practices. So first tell colleagues, yeah, and the team members that you're looking to diversify your workforce and ask them to help you identify candidates outside your usual recruiting pipeline. So if you're not ready recruiting at college campuses, try your hand at nabbing some promising students as they graduate. Yeah. So that is the point number two for the workplace house and house of gender diversity. The third would be about removing, kind of gender coded words from the job descriptions and postings. When I talk about this, these adjectives is what I remember. Adjectives matter when it comes to attracting diverse job applicants. Studies show that men tend to avoid applying for jobs when words are associated with more traits such as supportive, cooperative. So likewise, women may steer, clear when the job description, includes words like, driven, competitive, assertive, and all that. This may be wrong, but again, I didn't say this. Studies say that. So it is about writing the job descriptions and the job posting, job specifications to contain neutral language, which will attract more of the candidates. So next would be about reworking your pay and benefits program. So that is very important, because when it comes to workplaces, the first thing that people talk about is pay gender gap. Women are paid like this, men are paid that way. So to make your organizations as attractive as possible to a broader range of people, it is important to work to erase the pay inequality between men and women in the same positions. So one way to do this is to stop asking about a candidate's previous salary and offer the same pay range to every potential employee, regardless of what they made in an earlier position. Considering that asking candidates about their salary history is already prohibited in few states. When it comes to benefits, study also show the same way that women in particular value robust, family-oriented perks, when seeking a new job. So this means you should kind of be generous as possible, with family leave, health insurance, remote work, flexible hours of work, and all these. So this is one major thing that has been prevailing in the market already. So the next would be, removing names from resumes. Of late this has become a new trend also. It's still not a common practice, but many organizations are experimenting with this, with removing names and other identifying information from the resumes in a process known as blind hiring or anonymous recruiting. We say this. Some organizations remove only names, while others remove all the identifying information before the documents are being distributed to the HR specialists, the HR managers or hiring managers, however you call. So the theory is that unintentional bias is reduced, whether that the bias is based on gender, ethnicity, age, or any class, any characteristics that you say, it can be assumed by an applicant's name, where they went to school, or which year they've been graduated, and all that. So research shows that blind hiring does seem to make it easier for women and minorities to secure a spot on the shortlist for interviews, compared to when their names are not are known to the hiring managers. It 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 may not be a perfect solution, but maybe this helps a broader range of candidates get a foot in the door. But at least it doesn't fix an individual hiring managers prejudices about the skills and abilities of any gender. So that's where the communication about company goals come into picture. So gender diversity is just one piece of the puzzle, where building your workforce. So we need to learn how to cultivate a diverse team, with the skills, with the abilities to propel your organization's greatness, and where your organization can really succumb to the sustainable developmental goals that we've been talking on every conference, every important gathering nowadays. So that is on the third area. So gender diversity and inclusion at the workplace. So the next would be, now you can you may really wonder what is about the fourth area that I can really talk. So the gender diversity at home, gender diversity at classrooms, gender diversity at workplaces. So this is not enough. Yeah, my dear audience, this is not enough. So gender diversity on the society by large is very important. Yeah. India being a very diverse nation, it is difficult to make country level analysis and conclusions. So the complex tapestry of gender equality is composed of equality of opportunity, breaking down of gender stereotype, respect for the roles played by women in the household, the crimes against women and female infanticide. So in this listing, the role of gender in the economy is seen not through the lens of women, but from the point of view of organizations and societies at large. So the facts have been even more evident for some years now. So firms across the world with more than one woman on their boards have generated shareholder returns, where it is about 3.3 percentage higher each year than the firms with no women on the board. And you know what? A Harvard Business Review study say that company with women occupying 30 percentage of the leadership positions are 15 percentage more profitable than companies with no women in the leadership positions. So closer home, if Indian women participated in the workforce to the same extent as women across the world, India's GDP would be higher by 27 percentage and grow an additional 1.5 percentage every year. So this is what I said about this society. Yet women remain unequal when it comes to economic opportunity, especially in India. Okay, I'm not blaming the country as such, but only 18 percentage of India's GDP is from paid work by women compared to other countries, which is about 40 percentage, more than 40 percentage. So only 27 percentage of India's workforce is composed of women compared to more than 40 percentage globally is what is the synopsis to it. So India ranks 120 among 131 countries in female labor force participation rates. So which means only 14 percentage of elected members of parliament are women compared to about 20 to 25 percentage of the members from other countries, especially the US, where we could see many examples around the clock. So India being a very diverse nation, it is difficult to make country level analysis, as I told you, but still, you know, there are a lot of reasons for this dip, I would say. The various hurdles faced by women working in the formal sector in corporate India, that of subconscious bias is perhaps the most prevalent. You know, I would say well-intentioned corporate leaders, must really nip this in the bud and set an example for rest of the organizations to follow. Which domain, which industry you are into doesn't matter. So this is an area where a zero tolerance policy is essential, right? So next hurdle that I see is the culture of face time, where employees who are seen to spend long hours in the office beyond the regular working hours, I say, are identified as high performers for promotion and receive higher remuneration and all that. This combined with the expectation that an employee must be ready to work at any place at any time makes it much more difficult for the women to succeed. Yes, we all have faced this also in our routines. Legislation at the national level or at the state level mandating gender equality can go a long way in removing these hurdles, is what I see. Better education for the girl child, removal of barriers to entrepreneurship, and other such legislative actions will make the system more conducive for the women to succeed in. So this is what I would see when it comes to um, you know the society as such, because every individual make up the society, and most substantially addressing the complex issue of gender equality requires a shift in the attitudes. When I talk about diversity, when I talk about all the whys and the hows, all these through, attitude matters both at the individual level and the societal level. So, if I'll have to quote an example, 70 percentage of people believe that when a woman works for pay, her children suffer. Okay. However, working supports the economical and financial independence of women. We also say that giving them the freedom to pursue their choices and putting them on an equal footing with male, earners or wage earners. So, respect for women and their freedom is something that we'll have to build into our society. That attitude is what matters for society's sake more than for women's sake. So these are the four for arenas where we could really address when we talk about gender diversity and inclusion, and when we really are very responsible to inculcate this inclusion of any gender into our mainstreaming of lives. So this is about my talk for you, which really makes us kind of an eye opening when we really deep dive on all these aspects that I've been talking, because we generally see a lot of dips here and there when it comes to all the phases of life, the way we have this gender inequality still prevailing in the society. So I conclude that it is our responsibility. As I say, inclusion starts from I. So it is our responsibility to bring about all the the gender sensitized areas into picture, and bring about a diverse and inclusive society, no matter which gender the person belongs to. And with this, I think we will move on to any questions that the audience have.
Thank you, madam. I request Ms. Akshaya to take over the question and answer session. Over to you, Ms. Akshaya.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, with your permission, shall I move on to question and answer session?
Yes, please.
Okay, ma'am. The first question is, what is the difference between the gender equality and gender equity? So I have put it in the private chat also. You can also see the questions.
I'm not able to see.
Okay, ma'am. You can hear me. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Okay, what is the difference between the gender equality and gender equity?
Actually, I'm not able to see this. Can I go with your support itself?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So the very first question is the difference between the gender equality and gender equity.
Yeah. So when it comes to gender equality and gender equality, there's not much of difference. But gender equity is something is a process that is being fair to both women, men, or any other gender. Whereas gender equality, it means it is about equal equal opportunity that you give to the women, to the men, and the socially valued opportunities, resources, appreciations, rewards, whatever you give to the the men and the women altogether.
Okay, ma'am. So the second question is, can you please put the light on third gender and why it is considered lower comparatively to other two? I repeat, can you please put light on third gender and why it is considered lower comparatively to other two?
In fact, I expected this question when I really mentioned this, third gender. See, of late, what I would say is, it's been years together that we've been talking about women empowerment, equality for women and all that. And are we? I mean, I would ask the same question to the people, the audience, that are we really open enough to include whoever the gender is, whatever the class the person belong to, in every facets of our life, in every phases of our life.
Okay, ma'am. The third
Of
question
late, of late we've been striving hard to bring about women itself out of the household, and we still have this. Even me being a posh external member, few days back I had a case where the man of a particular organization is wanting to put down the performance of a woman employee, So for which he's been bullying, he's been torturing in all forms of work life as such. So women herself has no security and safety when it comes to domestic places, workplace, and the society as such. So still we are talking about women empowerment and the gender equality when it comes to women. And what attitude are we throwing towards the third gender is something that you have to self introspect. So what is about the gender, what is about a society where the third gender also can rule the nation, be part of leading the nation. I could see, I don't know, how it was a century back, but today I could see a lot of third gender people in the corporates, in the political arena, and especially in the families where the parents started accepting. Gone by those areas where the families doesn't accept. Today there are role model parents who are accepting these third gender people, and making a very inclusive environment for all the genders. I am seeing a change in the society, and same way let us also self introspect and bring about the change from every walks of our lives.
Okay, ma'am. And the next question is, what kind of laws should be implemented for gender equality? What kind
What
of law?
kind of law? See, there are a lot of legal legislative points that's been there from the Indian Constitution point of view itself. If you go back to history, if you go and surf some legal books when it comes to equality and all that, you can really find a lot of laws as such. But my question is, why are these laws for? Maybe I may sound a little different, but why are these laws for? Are we waiting for someone to say this is not right because the law says, this is right because the law says? Aren't we matured humans to understand that beyond laws there is a mindset, there is a perception, that there is an attitude that makes us to behave in a humane way to the fellow human being that is there beside. So there are a lot of laws, but my point here is, across legislations, across legal legal points and legal actions. Okay, when you don't do something, there is something, there is a person who is going to penalize you. So apart from all these things, there is a life. So let us focus on this life rather than the law, and make the law really get implemented by the way you lead your life.
Uh, okay, ma'am. And one more last question. What effort can be done by developing countries' government to ensure gender diversity?
Amazing question. uh, there are a lot of things actually. Let me quickly list out, because considering the timing and all that. So first point would be established a sense of belongingness. So that is very important. No matter which place this person is into, the woman or any gender is into, whether at the home or at the classroom or the workplace or the society, establish a sense of belongingness. So that's point number one. Point number two, bring about a empathetic leadership. Yeah, leadership is the key for everything, and empathetic leadership is the key. And third point would be a top down approach is not enough. Sometimes we also go invert ourselves on the down top approach, so as to set things right. Yeah. Next would be quotas. We have this female quotas, the reservations. This alone will not automate inclusion. Okay, sometimes it is about the beyond quotas. That's what I said. Beyond laws and beyond quotas, we'll have to work so that you automate this concept called diversity and inclusion. So next would be about, inclusion is something like ongoing. It is not off, it is not, kind of, one off training or something like that. Today I'm talking to you, and it is a webinar session, and how I really don't know how many of you are really, getting this verge of gender diversity and inclusion, especially on this virtual mode. But still, it is not a training year. It is about an ongoing practice that you'll have to, as a society, as every particular individual, we'll have to, give about. The next would be, maximizing the, joy and connection, and minimizing the fear, because in today's scenario, it is about, the majorly the fear that pulls every women, or man to pull off this, gender equality. So bring about lot of, contentment, connection with as many women and men as possible, and let us start reducing the fear, the doubts, the prejudices, the stereotypes that's all prevailing. So that is one point I would say. The next point is, forget the fit. She doesn't fit this. Yeah, we all say this, right? So maybe this fitment is, not right here. So maybe we should not, go about it. This we always hear this in the workplaces. So let's forget the fit and focus on helping individuals thrive, thrive in their lives. Yeah. The last point would be, um, you know, uh, I would always say this: you are your own brand. Yeah. Do you agree? All of you agree? You are your own brand. I am my own brand. Raghavi is a brand. So you are your own brand. The self branding is something very important. As an individual, am I working on the brand in terms of making this culture an inclusive culture? Are you a person who is going to keep on bully women, who is going to keep on, kind of discriminate women at every aspect of life? Or am I a person who is going to focus on a very inclusive nature, bring about, all genders at all phases of life, and be smart enough to talk about this, inclusion at the GDP level? You know what? I will come to conclude with this one particular point. When you ask me who, increases the GDP, because I just spoke about the GDP point, who increases the GDP of our nation? If it is, I'm not talking about men or women or any other gender. It is the mothers who are indeed increasing this GDP. Every person, every, no matter which, where are you working, which part of your life, you call your mother, okay, or the woman in your household. Socks is not there, shoe is not there, food is not ready, this is not ready, that is not ready, amma. Yeah, we all say this, and we call the women in the family, the mothers, the wives, and whoever, is taking care. And this woman who runs round the clock is working for this, the human resources round the clock with no salary. If you convert this as a salary, just think what is the GDP of the nation today would be when you employ that person. So there are all these points that I would list out in bringing about a very inclusive culture, and as citizens, we all are responsible for implementing this.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for answering our questions. And YouTube is overflowing with wonderful feedback. And thank
Thank
you, ma'am,
you.
for accepting the invitation and answering for all the questions. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, madam, for delivering a wonderful and an informative session. We are very grateful for the time and effort you took to share your thoughts and experiences with all of us. I now request Ms. Vasanthi, Assistant Professor from the Department of Human Resource Management, to deliver the vote of thanks. Over to you, madam.
Good evening. Thank you is the best prayer. Thank you has extreme gratitude. Good evening to all of you. I'm pleased to propose the oath of thanks. I take this privilege on behalf of our management to thank our guest speaker, Ms. Raghavi, CEO, Headway Academy, for her excellent and informative presentation on gender diversity and inclusion. I thank our joint registrars, Dr. Malini Pandey and Dr. Ramalingam. I also take this privilege to thank our Dean, Dr. Manivannan, Deputy Dean, Dr. Arunachalam, and Deputy Dean, Dr. Senthilkumar, for their ever supporting us in all our endeavors. I thank our the head of the department, Dr. Jain, and my colleagues, Ms. Ramya and Ms. Niveda. I also thank our tech support, Ms. Akshaya and Ganesh Babu for all their technical support. And I thank all the participants who have registered across the globe. And thank you all for being with us. Have a pleasant evening.
Thank you, madam. At this happy moment, we would like to present our appreciation certificate to the chief guest. I request Ms. Akshaya to display the appreciation certificate. Thank you, Ms. Akshaya. The feedback and assessment form is available in the YouTube description box. You are requested to complete and submit the form before 6 p.m. today. Later, the form will be deactivated. The e-certificate for participation will be sent to your registered email ID within 3 working days. As per our policy, we normally won't request our speakers to share their PPT, but at the same time, this video will be ever available in our YouTube channel. Participants can view at any moment. We have come to an end of the program. With the hope you all have gained knowledge, with the satisfaction of presenting a good webinar, we wish to sign off for today and meet you all in the next program. Don't forget to submit your feedback form and subscribe our YouTube channel, Dr. NGI University Phase 2 Digital Learning, for further updates about our programs and videos. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.